The cigarette tasted worse than usual, wet from the wind, sharp in the back of my throat, but I didn't put it out. I was parked across the street from the new build, our future dream home, staring at it through the windshield. The porch beams were finally up. I should have felt proud. Instead, something in me wouldn't let go of the fact that her car was nowhere in sight. She'd said she was staying late to go over floor plan revisions with Adam, our architect. Again. I hadn't questioned it out loud, but something about the way she smiled when she said his name last night felt off. Not nervous. Relaxed. Confident. I got out of the truck and walked the sidewalk, boots crunching soft gravel. I didn't know where I was going until I was already headed there, half a block down, toward Adam's apartment. The lights were on. Second floor. Large corner window facing the street. No curtains. I stopped under the jacaranda tree and lit another cigarette with the stub of the first. My fingers trembled, not from cold. From something deeper. Something older. Then I saw them. Iris. And Adam. They were sitting on his couch, laughing. A half-rolled blueprint sat on the coffee table beside 2 wine glasses and a single taper candle, lit like a restaurant centerpiece. She leaned toward him. His hand was resting on the back of the couch, not quite touching her shoulders. She wore the sweater I bought her last Christmas. He said something. She threw her head back, laughing, and then leaned in farther. They kissed. Not the kind of kiss you share by accident. I didn't move. I didn't knock, or shout, or take a photo. I just stood there, smoke coiling from my lips, watching my wife disappear in real time. One decision, unfolding in 1,000 tiny details. I remember thinking, so this is how it starts. Not with a fight. Not with a goodbye. Just a shift in gravity. I stayed there until they disappeared from the window. Then I flicked the cigarette into the gutter and walked back to the truck. The cab was quiet, my breath fogging the windshield. I rested my hands on the steering wheel and stared at the construction site. The house we were building together. The walls we'd walked through just 3 days ago, planning where Lily's bookshelves would go, which hallway would get the skylight. The same house she was designing with him. I should have felt rage. I should have punched something. But all I felt was an eerie, bone-deep stillness. Like standing in the middle of a field after the sirens have gone quiet, but before the storm arrives. I drove home in silence. She wouldn't be back for another hour, maybe more. When she did, she'd kiss me on the cheek and tell me the architect's obsessed with angles again, how this kitchen will be famous one day, and I'd nod like I'm still asleep. But I wasn't asleep anymore. That window opened something I can't unsee. It wasn't just the kiss. It was the ease. The comfort. The shared world I'd been locked out of. By the time I pulled into our driveway, I already knew. This wasn't about one night. This was about patterns. About trust handed over like a blueprint and ripped up behind my back. I sat in the dark kitchen, watching the clock. The bitter taste of smoke still lingered in my mouth. And I began to think, really think, about everything I'd missed. It's hard to pinpoint the exact moment something begins to rot, especially when it's wrapped in drywall and fresh paint. I used to think we were solid. Iris and I met at a summer festival in San Luis Obispo. She was sketching people at a booth near the kettle corn stand. I joked that she should draw me with a superhero cape, and she smiled, genuine, wide. She gave me her number with charcoal still on her fingers. We built our lives in blueprints, first the apartment, then Lily, then the plot of land outside the city. I'd saved for years, taking on side jobs to afford it. She was the one who found Adam, said he had a clean, modern sensibility, and understood how light should live in a room. I nodded, trusting her instincts. She always had a way of seeing beauty in structure. Looking back, I realize how quiet the shift was. It started with missed dinners. Adam wants to walk through the new concept, she'd say. We're making real progress. Sometimes she'd come home with sketches tucked into her tote bag, smelling like red wine and cedarwood cologne. I didn't question it. I told myself, she's involved. That's a good sign. The first real crack came on a Saturday morning. We were sitting on the floor of the guest room, sorting swatches for curtains. She was distracted, kept checking her phone. I caught a glimpse of the name A, and a message that made her laugh quietly to herself. When I asked, she said it was Adam suggesting lawn chairs in the wine room, as a joke. I laughed too. But the air between us felt thinner. Then there were the receipts. She left them in odd places, her coat pocket, the laundry basket, even tucked inside a gardening book. One was from a wine bar in Echo Park, time-stamped 11:08 p.m. on a Wednesday. She'd told me she was working late on cabinetry mock-ups. I asked her about it. Adam insisted we check out this space with reclaimed oak panels, she said, too quickly. It's inspiration. Inspiration. That word came up a lot. So did Adam. He became a fixture in our conversations, always framed in compliments, always the creative genius behind the house. One day, Lily asked if Mommy's friend Adam was coming to dinner again, and Iris snapped, "He's not coming to dinner, sweetheart. He's busy." Busy. Another word I learned to fear. I started keeping a folder. At first, it was just for budgeting, screenshots of payments, contractor invoices, supply runs. Then I added the receipts. Then the calendar screenshots, comparing her schedule to Adam's Instagram posts, a story of wine glasses clinking, captioned "Midnight brainstorms are the best ones." Iris claimed those nights were just late edits. I believed her. Or tried to. One night, after Lily was asleep, I went through the shared laptop. Iris wasn't good at deleting things. Her browser history had searches like, "Best boutique hotels for design retreats," and, "How to spot emotional infidelity." One bookmarked page was a slideshow, "The hidden intimacy of collaborative work." I found their messages next. Not explicit. But close enough. Long threads about design choices mixed with inside jokes, references to dreams he had about her sketches, and comments like, "Nobody thinks like you." She replied, "You get me in a way even he doesn't." He was me. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Instead, I made copies of everything. Uploaded them to a secure drive. I kept telling myself, don't move fast. Move smart. I called Drew, an old college friend turned civil engineer. He'd gone through a nasty separation a year earlier and now worked part-time in mediation consulting. I didn't need a therapist. I needed someone who'd lived in this kind of silence and made it out. He listened without interruption. Then he said, "You've got one shot to play this clean. You do it quiet, legal, and without burning the rest of your life down." He was right. I wasn't about to blow a hole through everything just because Iris already had. That week, I started paying closer attention to Lily. I noticed how she'd draw houses with 3 figures, me, her, and a floating blob labeled, "with long hair." I asked her once who that was. "Mom," she said. "But she's always coming and going." The next time Iris left for a lighting consult, I walked her to the car. She kissed me absently and drove off. I watched the taillights disappear around the corner. Then I turned and looked at the foundation of the house we were building. I thought about how much planning it took to make something stand. About how easily people forget that the weakest cracks usually start where no one's looking. Back inside, I opened the folder again and added 2 more messages. Then I wrote a list of things I'd need next. An attorney. Proof of infidelity. Financial ledgers. A record of parenting contributions. I wasn't going to accuse her yet. I was going to prepare. The first meeting with the lawyer was quiet. Just me, a glass wall overlooking downtown, and Evelyn Case, a sharp woman in her early 40s with blunt-cut hair and a reputation for winning cases without ever raising her voice. "I don't need to destroy her," I said. "But I want to protect my daughter, the house, and my peace." Evelyn nodded once. "Then we work from documentation and precedent. Not emotion." That was exactly what I wanted to hear. I handed her a flash drive. She scrolled through the folder, screenshots, message logs, timestamps. She paused on one, the note Iris left herself in her phone that read, "When did we stop building the same life?" She sent this to him. No. Just saved it. Still admissible, Evelyn said. What do you want? Majority custody. Retain the house. Equitable division of joint savings. No drama. She looked up. You'll still need a firm hand. Just give me the plan. I'll follow it. I left her office with a legal roadmap and a quiet sense of forward motion. The anger hadn't disappeared, but it had purpose now. That night, I stayed up cross-referencing Iris's personal and business expenses. I noticed a trend: purchases billed to her card that technically related to the house, lighting samples, artisan tiles, sketching tablets, but sourced from personal vendors tied to Adam's office. I created a spreadsheet. Evelyn said intent matters. The blurring of personal and professional lines would help show motive and opportunity. I also logged every time Iris left after dinner to review plans, and every time Adam posted a late-night design session online. There were 18 overlaps. I sent the log to Evelyn. She replied within an hour, "This is good. Keep going." My next step was security. I didn't want to stalk or trap her. I just needed to verify. I installed a discrete motion sensor camera at the entrance of the new build, framed as protection against material theft. The footage uploaded directly to my cloud drive. Within 3 days, I caught what I'd expected: her pulling up in his car, unlocking the front door with her own copy of the construction key, walking inside with him, and staying for 90 minutes. No contractor. No blueprints in hand. Just her purse, a bottle of wine, and a white gift bag. The next morning, I filed the footage under a new folder: House Visits. I spoke with Drew again over coffee. He'd been keeping tabs on me since our first talk. "You're holding up?" he asked. Surprisingly, yeah. "You've gone from gut punch to boardroom strategist in 2 weeks." I smirked. "Planning's what I do. I just never thought I'd have to draft floor plans for my own divorce." He leaned back. "The thing about building, real building, is you learn quickly what corners not to cut." I knew what he meant. Next, I visited my father. He lives in the foothills outside Glendale, in a modest, creaky ranch house that still smells like cedar and pipe smoke. We sat on the porch while Lily played in the yard, chasing dry leaves and muttering something to a stuffed bear. He poured us both a coffee, no sugar. "I always thought Iris had good taste," he said, unprompted. "Maybe too good." She liked the show of things. She liked Adam's vision more than mine. Dad grunted. "You know how I knew your mother was done with me?" She started organizing closets I didn't use. I raised an eyebrow. "She stopped building with me," he said. "Started organizing around me." We sat in silence a while, then he patted my shoulder once. "You're doing it right. With your head, not your fists. That's the only way a man wins anything lasting." That stuck with me. Back home, I drafted a custody agreement proposal. I outlined Lily's routine, our current caregiving balance, and the proximity between our house and her school. I cited that I had handled school pickup 70% of the time in the past 6 months and provided receipts for after-school programs. Evelyn added legal framing, suggesting we pursue primary custody with generous visitation, to avoid making Iris defensive. She also prepared a financial snapshot: our joint assets, projected division, and protections on my premarital savings. I had receipts for everything: down payments, renovations, even the first blueprint drafts, which I'd commissioned. The narrative was clear: I'd built this life brick by brick. And she had been furnishing an exit in secret. I visited the house one afternoon to check on the contractors. Framing was almost done. The walls were up, the roof tarped. I walked through the living room, imagining the sectional couch Iris had obsessed over, the pendant lights she and Adam picked out. I stood in the middle of it, breathing in the smell of sawdust and fresh pine. Then I opened a storage closet we hadn't touched yet and found an old ashtray, round, ceramic, glazed dark red. A gift from Adam, I remembered. He gave it to us the first week he started working on the house, said it was handmade by a local potter and perfect for creative nights. I took it. Back at home, I placed it on the shelf in my office. Not as a keepsake. As a reminder. Each time I passed it, I felt a sense of structure returning. Like the version of me that once felt hollowed out was now being refilled, not with resentment, but with plans. By the third week, everything was lined up. Evidence. Legal support. Custody plan. Emotional clarity. All that remained was the reveal. And for that, I already knew what room I'd choose. I asked Iris to meet me at the house. Not the one we shared, but the one we were building. I told her I needed her opinion on some finishing details. She agreed, cheerfully. Said she'd bring her notes on the light fixtures Adam had recommended. When she arrived, the sun was low. Golden hour beams stretched across the raw floors, catching sawdust in the air. We stood in the shell of what would have been our living room. No furniture. No lies left between walls. I set the ashtray down on a makeshift table, just 2 planks over sawhorses. A deliberate prop. She glanced at it but said nothing. "We need to talk," I said. She blinked. "Sure." "About the layout?" "No." "About you and Adam." Her smile faltered. "What do you mean?" "I mean I know everything." I reached into my folder, thin but sharp. A few photos. Screenshots. Timestamps. Receipts. I didn't show them all at once. Just enough to make her stop pretending. Her shoulders dropped. She didn't sit. "Iris," I said calmly, "I saw you at his place weeks ago. I gave you time to tell me yourself." "I didn't know how," she whispered. "I built this house for us. While you spent your nights decorating excuses. I never meant for it to get this far." "Did you mean to kiss him? Or unlock the door to our house with him behind you?" She covered her face with one hand. I tried to keep it separate. "You failed." She looked up. "So what now? You want to punish me? Take Lily away?" I shook my head. "No. I want stability for her. I want the house. I want this over, with grace, if you're capable." She looked around the empty frame of the room, like she was seeing it for the first time without fantasy. "Do you love him?" "I don't even know," she said quietly. "It started with ideas, not feelings. Then it ended with a choice." She nodded, lips trembling. I slid the final paper across the planks, a copy of our proposed settlement. No surprises. No cruelty. Just clear lines. "I'm not going to ruin you, Iris. But I'm also not going to carry the weight of something you broke." Her gaze dropped to the ashtray. "You kept that?" "I did," I said. "Not because it means anything good. But because I wanted to remember what a warning sign looks like." We stood in silence. Then she signed. There were no dramatic speeches. No begging. Just her initials in blue ink, looping faster than her breath. When she left, she didn't look back. I stayed. The light outside had dimmed. The air smelled like sawdust and cooling metal. I walked through the unfinished kitchen, ran my hand along the raw countertop. No more building for ghosts. Only blueprints I could trust. 3 months later, the house was mine, legally, emotionally, and completely. The settlement passed without contest. She signed. She moved out. Adam, predictably, vanished. She relocated to a condo downtown, closer to her new office, and farther from our daughter's school. I didn't fight to keep her away from Lily, I just ensured the schedule made sense. I kept custody. She got alternate weekends and video calls when she remembered. The structure held. I finished the build with the same contractor, but I made design changes. Stripped out the pendant lights. Replaced the glass dining wall Iris had pushed for with a warm oak divider. I removed the niche she'd wanted for, showcasing artisan pieces, and built a reading nook for Lily instead. She helped me paint the walls in her room yellow and soft blue. She wore overalls 2 sizes too big, splattering the floor more than the wall. I didn't care. In the end, the house didn't feel like a monument to what I lost. It felt like a place I could breathe again. I kept the ashtray. It sits on a shelf in my office, still red, still ceramic. But now, it holds thumbtacks and paper clips. A useful thing again. A reminder not of betrayal, but of how clearly truth begins to show when you finally stop squinting through the haze. I went back to work full-time. Reconnected with friends I'd drifted from. Took up woodworking in the garage, not because I needed more projects, but because shaping something with your own hands brings a kind of peace you can't buy. One night, while organizing papers, I came across the old flash drive with the evidence. I thought about deleting it. But I didn't. Instead, I opened a new folder. Not on the drive, online. I started a blog. Quiet, anonymous. I wrote about the anatomy of silence. About the weight of suspicion, the discipline of restraint, the satisfaction of justice served in signed pages and sleeping children who feel safe. Within weeks, comments started appearing. A man in Oregon. A woman in Texas. A teacher in Vermont. They all said the same thing in different ways: you put words to something I couldn't explain. I never posted names. Never mentioned architecture. Just reflections. Blueprints, of a different kind. Lily and I walked the neighborhood one evening in early spring. She asked me if I was sad Mommy didn't live with us anymore. No, I said. Just sad she didn't want to stay. She thought about it. Then held my hand a little tighter. We stopped in front of our finished house. The porch light glowed. The curtains fluttered. For a moment, I just looked at it, every corner, every nail, every lesson. It looks like home now, she said. It is, I replied. And this time, I didn't feel like something was missing.